Hey, welcome back to the channel. So there are many different solutions when it comes to the Sega, but which one is the best one for you? So in today's video we are going to do all kinds of, let's say, comparisons, but also chit-chatting about what kind of options do we have. We also have this very cool FPGA HDMI solution, but the other side also an AliExpress plug-and-play HDMI solution with even a Retro switch installed. Or the Mega Retron HD. In the end, there are many different solutions, but which one is the best one for you? That we're going to be chit-chatting, also going to be doing comparisons, particularly when it comes to the visual part. Of course, the Analogue is one of the best ones out there, but is it really the best one for you? That is what we're going to be finding out today. Okay, so first of all, let's start off with one of the cheapest options out there, and this is getting a Sega Genesis. So let's say you have a Sega Genesis, and this is going to be one of those options you can actually use. But how are we going to be using this? That is what we're going to be chit-chatting about it in the first part. The first solution is going to be maybe one of the cheapest ones you can actually do. So let's say you have this old Genesis retro game system laying around. So there are some cheap options out there that can be very interesting when it comes to upscaling and getting an HDMI solution. So where you can buy this complete kit where we can just plug this in and have the option for actually playing your game through HDMI. And I think the biggest, positive thing about this, I'm going to show you. It's over here. It's the Retroscaler, and so what you can see, actually you're having two switches over here. So one's going to be switching through for the SNK or the Neo Geo and the Mega Drive, and this is going to be for the aspect ratio. Over here we're finding a micro USB. I'm hoping they're going to be giving us a USB-C in the future because it's so much more convenient. And the original connector, what I understand of this, is the Mega Drive 2. And in here we're finding all of the other cables and the adapters for the Neo Geo and the Mega Drive 1. So this is actually what we're getting, including a micro USB and an HDMI cable. Connecting the HDMI solution is super simple. It's absolutely a plug-and-play situation. But let's do a quick overview when it comes to the aspect ratio and how that actually works. So what's also interesting in here, we're having the aspect ratio already mentioned a couple of times now. So it's super easy to just switch between of them. But what is even interesting is like we're having the SNK option or Neo Geo, and it only does like aligning the picture on a different position. Next up, let's take a close look at the Hyperkin, the Mega Retron HD. This thing, you can just buy it new, but also maybe used somewhere. And you can just see this thing does have the option for NTSC, Japan and the US, and the PAL features. I made a full review about it, and I can conclude that this is a very interesting option, where this thing doesn't really look like a Sega anymore. It does come with some cool features, particularly when it comes to, let's say, the region and the HDMI, and also have the option for AV out. And what is even more cooler, that you have a 6x9 and 4x3 aspect ratio. Yeah, you can all do it with this Hyperkin. However, if you're going to be looking at the gameplay, and we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison, yeah, there are some things that you need to know. I was really surprised how good it actually looks when going to be capturing the visual part, but also when you're looking at the audio part, I was absolutely flabbergasted how good it is. Take consideration that this product is already a couple of years old, and if you're looking at the competition, you will see that this thing performs quite well. But later on we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison to give a good overview what is the greatest and what is the best of all of them. Next up, another clone system. This is the one from AliExpress. Take note, you have an old and new version, but what I understand of when it comes to, let's say, both of them, they will have similar results when it comes to the performance of the audio and visual part. So this is a device, it weighs almost nothing. Yep, it's really cheap, and it also comes with the overall quality. It's not super bad, but it can be a little bit disappointing for some of you. It does also have region switch, AV out and HDMI. Did also full review. This thing doesn't have support for the Sega CD. Yeah, this is just a hole with nothing in it. And I did a completely video and a teardown that was absolutely laughable regarding what you can find in the inside. But you can just hear that the audio is not like supposed to be. That sound, that sounds completely off. But so far, actually playing the game, no problem whatsoever. Conclusion of this thing is that it is a really cheap solution, but if you have no console whatsoever and you still want to have something that looks authentic to the shell itself, this can be a very interesting option. Let's give you a side-by-side comparison with an original system. In my main review I also did a separate side-by-side, and I think the biggest difference what you're getting, not only like 16-bit and that kind, there's no Sega logos on here. I think when you're looking at the depth where you're going to be putting the cartridges in, so you cannot use a master system converter, but it looks kind of cool because it looks kind of similar to original Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. And of course the most expensive one nowadays. Unfortunate, Analogue stopped making these things. I wish in the future they will bring out more of these Sega thingies, because this is a super high quality product. You even have the option for a Sega CD add-on if you want to, and FPGA technology is absolutely spot on with the original one. So if you're going to be comparing this with the original system, yeah, you can just see visual wise, but this is absolutely an amazing and maybe the best solution out there. So both of them, if you want to have the authentic Sega sound and visual, these two are actually the best one. However, when you're looking at the way you're just playing and yeah, you're looking at the form factor, this thing is unique in its, let's say, form factor itself. But yeah, the price point now, because they're not going to be manufactured anymore, you need to go to the scalper jungle to find one, and they are crazy expensive. And that's a fact. But so many different solutions out there. Let's do a side-by-side comparison, visual but audio-wise, to give you an idea what can you actually expect when you're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of every single device. So let's make it interesting by doing a side-by-side comparison with a lot of games. In this part we're going to be doing the visual but also the audio quality comparison. And when you're going to be scrolling through the games, you can already notice some difference. Unfortunate, my Sega console was set to 16:9, so we do have widescreen shenanigans, but for the visual and audio part it's not going to make any difference. I just wanted to see how the colors and everything is. And already going through a couple of the Sonic games on the systems, I noticed some things. How is the quality, and when you're going to be putting them side by side, how bad is, for example, the Chinese Sega AliExpress machine. So with the Retroscaler HDMI compared with the Retron HD console, you can just see a huge difference when it comes to the colors and everything else. So where the Retron HD console does look quite good, so when it comes to the color palette it's completely different, and the Retroscaler HDMI utilizes the original colors of the Sega system. But in the end, when you're looking at both of the clone consoles, think about the Retron HD console and the China HDMI console. Here you can see side by side that the colors are almost identical to each other. Where we had, let's say, some difference with the original system, it's quite interesting to see. So let's put the Analogue against the Retroscaler. To make it even more interesting, the Retroscaler HDMI with the original Sega against the Analogue Sega. We can clearly see with Street of Rage 2 that the Analogue Sega is so much more colorful and vibrant. It's absolutely amazing to look at, where the Retroscaler looks a little bit dimmed when it comes to the colors. But this is more like a personal preference. What do you like more? So now we're going to be seeing all of the, let's say, pictures side by side. You see a lot of differences. However, so now we have seen the visual part. How about the audio? Because there also we're having a lot of difference when it comes to, like, say, the Retroscaler, the Analogue, but also the clone systems. Visual-wise, there's a lot to say. I already mentioned that before, but audio-wise, we do see a lot of difference there. And also, there's a lot of difference between the Retroscaler and Analogue Sega. And it's kind of interesting to see, but of course the Analogue Sega has just a superior sound when it comes to all of these devices. But now putting them all side by side, we can see quite some differences. So the Chinese AliExpress looks kind of similar to the Retron HD, where the audio of the Chinese version is absolutely awful. It still has the original looks, and yep, if you have no console and you don't want to spend a lot of money, maybe it can be a fun thing if you don't mind the audio. The audio of the Mega Retron HD sounds kinda weird and also off, where the RGBS upscaler from Retro has like a completely different experience. But the Mega Retron HD is not a bad console at all. But when it comes to getting close to the original, of course, using an original system is like maybe the one of the best things you can do. However, when it comes to the audio quality, I did hear some interference going there, but it was overall not bad. And if you want to burn some serious money, of course, Analogue is the best option for everything. But it was just a fun thing to do a side-by-side comparison because I was interested to see how it will actually hold up against other systems, including the RGB upscaler. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this video helped out, and it would be great to see you in the next video.